What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason and Joe here. Album review. This week we're talking about the new one from Alex G. It is called Headlights. It is his major label debut, deep into his career. He's been on Domino since 2015's Music Beach. This is his 10th studio album. I became aware of him around 2013, the album Trick. And for a long time, I didn't really get the whole Sandy Alex G thing. It was like a little too scrappy for me. The melodies weren't usually sticky enough. But I think in like the decade plus since then, I think he's just been kind of like sharpening his tools, and I've enjoyed the last couple kind of like 3.5 plus kind of territory. So, yeah, that's my history with Alex G. I've been growing into him more and more with each release.
I know and some of Alex G. I don't understand the Sandy thing either. Is that like a Springsteen homage to July 4th Sandy or something? I don't know.
No idea what the story is or why he used that for so long, but I think he's finally dropped it.
Yeah, that was weird. I've listened to a bunch of his albums. I haven't really thought any of them were too standoutish, worth talking about in any real way. Just not really my style of music, and I don't know. He's a guy. He has interesting, eclectic taste. I'll give him that, and I can see why people like him. But for me, all of his stuff is a little too. I don't know, it's like Peter Pan syndrome-ish. Um, like all the kind of cutesy background vocals and throwing like the vocoder and there's some like auto tune on his last couple, and I don't know, there's something about him and like the eternal indie set that's like, just grow up. Just please grow up. And they never seem to. And I don't know, Alex G seems like one of the main, I don't know, culprits of that.
Well, what do you, I think this is like almost too mature.
Yeah. So this album, I went back and listened to some of Rocket and some of what's the other one?
House of Sugar.
House of Sugar. And I was just trying to see like where what the difference is because with this being his major label debut, obviously there's going to be some changes. So it's just a matter of like, okay, so what's the difference? What are the major label making him do, or is it just all, more access and maybe more expensive production? And a lot of this album sounds like his old albums. Like I don't think there's like this giant people think when someone signs with a major label that it's just gonna like ruin them completely or change their sound or do something different. This really just feels like his other stuff with more polish. And I think maybe, well, you seem to be implying that there's too much polish. A bunch of reviews I've read don't think that. But if I was really into the early Alex G, I would probably feel like this album has too much polish on it. And it's not unlike Elliott Smith with EXO in some ways, but I think it's just not really fitting for what Alex G is trying to do. If the melodies and the hooks were stronger, I would say, okay, yes, this is a good reason to go major label. But like the only real things that I see different on this album are like there's a real orchestra. The first couple tracks are like real smooth, almost like, I don't want to denigrate the guy, but like Sam Fender sounding, like that style of like major label polish, like slickness to the proceedings. I like a lot of the instrumentation. There's some nice banjo. There's some like jazzy vibes on a couple of things. But you're still getting like the backing vocals, like the childlike kind of cutesy twee backing vocals. There's some weird experimental noise songs. There's a song with auto tune or vocoder or whatever it is on his voice. So I don't know. To me, it just sounds like his other stuff, but with like a tad bit of polish on it. And it's not going to change my mind on him. I don't really like him. I don't hate this album. I don't hate his sound, but there's just, I don't know. When I hear Major Label, I think like, okay, we're going to force you into writing some really good pop songs. And this just kind of sounds like what he's been doing. I mean, like June Guitar, the opener, I was getting like Tracy Chapman, like 90s vibes from it. It's very slick sounding, that guitar figure. I really like the chord progression and the accordion and stuff, and it's got some cool elements. But I don't know, they never seem to build. And the songs that I like the best are kind of like Elliott Smith light tunes, like Spinning, and then the weird ones like Bounce Boy with the vocal effects and Louisiana with the odd voice modulation and the spacey sound effects. I don't love. I do like the last track a lot, Logan Hotel. I think it's like the best rocker of them all. Some nice stinging guitar lines, some harmonica, a little more Heartland rock. But I don't know. I think he's a little too all over the place. I don't think he's quite good enough with melodies. And then like the weird songs just kind of take me out of it. I think that the track like flow is kind of odd. So I don't know. I didn't hate it, but I'd probably go three, maybe 3.5 stars. I don't know. I'm kind of in between there.
Well, I like it a little bit more than you, and I don't, yeah, like I think the maturity of it is mostly working for me, but I agree. I think like trying to put myself in the shoes of like a big Alex G fan, of which there's a surprisingly large number of. I've had multiple guitar students ask to learn Alex G songs, so yeah, he's pretty popular, especially among younger kids. And I don't know. I feel like if I was a fan of his early stuff, then the maybe the last record and this one even more so would be a little disappointing. But for me and my taste, I think it does help bring the songs to the forefront a bit. His melodies I like. I think he writes strong melodies. They're maybe all a little samey, but generally I think they're catchy. The first track, June Guitar, sounded like to me like early 2000s Eric Clapton. It could be
Yeah.
like off
Yeah.
of Pilgrim or something like that. And then Real Thing, you got some like pan flute on it, which was kind of strange. Afterlife, probably my favorite song on it. Good drum groove. I like the mandolin on it. And then you have Beam Me Up, which references some past records of his. I think the football line in the song is referring to his record DSU, and he's talking about Rocket, which he has a record called Rocket as well. Oranges, I think, is emblematic of this record. Pretty like stripped down, acoustic, front porchy type of vibes. And yeah, I think overall, a very sparse record arrangement wise. Like you can pick out um, different things about all these tracks, like say there's a pan flute on Real Thing, or say something about a mandolin on one track or banjo on other tracks. And if you rattle all that stuff off, it sounds like there's a ton of stuff dumped on this record. But the thing about those instances is that's like the only thing going on. There's like some guitar and then maybe some little element of interest. But these tracks are very open and there's not a ton of instrumentation on most of them. There's a couple noisier tracks that you mentioned, like Louisiana, Bounce Boy, those in the middle. Those have a little bit more going on. And then Far and Wide is kind of an outlier track too, where his vocals are not as like smooth and melodic on that track. They're a little off kilter, kind of left of center vocals. They remind me a little of Daniel Johnston on that track a little bit actually. But for the most part, this is all pretty chill vibes. It reminds me a little of like the trajectory of Mac DeMarco post Salad days, where he's still kind of doing the same thing, but it's like a less exciting version. of the same thing, maybe. But the songwriting's strong, and it's probably even stronger than the recent Mac stuff. So I'm at like a real light 4 stars on it, just barely 4 stars. But I'm not super high on his earlier records either. So a light 4 stars puts it near the top, if not the top of my Alex G discography rankings. So I think it's solid. I don't know how his fans will feel though. I haven't looked at many reviews or seen how people are reacting to it, but I expect maybe kind of like a tepid response to this one.
Yeah, the critics seem to like it a lot. Pitchfork, I think, give it like an 8.5, which is pretty high. But I don't know, like if I was a big Alex G fan, I think I'd kind of be used to this from God Saves Loves the Animal or whatever, Loves the Animals. And I don't think this one is too far off of that. Like even with the major label backing, like I didn't notice like, the big studio, power or something. Like there's a nice orchestration in Far and Wide, and you can tell like it's a real orchestra. And it has a cool, really cool like whatever arrangement on that. And like yeah, you mentioned like the blasts of like pan flute, and I guess maybe one of my other problems with the album is like all those like I like those elements, but like they appear so fast and are gone so fast and like never make another appearance. I think like all these songs, I don't know, there's like the Alex G underneath everything, but like it doesn't seem to be very like connected with a lot of these like, you know, extraneous instruments and the orchestration. And I love that, the banjo, the mandolin, whatever on the one tune, Afterlife. Like I love that sound, but like that's all you get from that sound, and then it's gone forever. And I don't know, maybe just a little more elements that came back tied together a little bit more than just like the Alex G experience is really the only thing that's similar, and that's like this roller coaster of like weirdness and all over the place anyway. So I don't know. Maybe I just don't like that style of just one sound gone, another sound gone. Like maybe a little more continuation with some kind of like something to grab onto.
Well, I did read that the record he worked on like one track at a time for like weeks. So he'd work for like 3 weeks on one track and then do that. And he said he just did that for like a year until he had enough songs. So the songs, I don't think like sonically like are I don't think he put too much effort into making sure that it was like a cohesive whole. It's very like a collection of songs rather than like a
That
thematic type of.
that makes total sense then.
Yeah. All right. Well, let us know what you think of this record, especially if you're a longtime Alex G fan. Let us know how you're feeling about this newer, cleaner sound. And hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, check the video description for all of the links that will take you to the places you need to go, our merch, our Patreon. We have a record label that you could check out, Instagram, all that stuff. So check it out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.